Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now I have been so excited to share today's video with you guys. If you follow me over on the gram of Insta, then you'll have seen me talking a lot recently about buying vintage and or second-hand clothing, shoes, accessories, the whole shebang. And for the month of August, I decided to set myself a little test and see if I could shop the entire month just secondhand or pre-owned, whatever you want to call it. And with the very small exception, and I hope you guys will let me off for that, of my birthday boots, which were the Saint Laurent boots that I bought from Farfetch. You guys would have seen them in the last vlog, which went up on Sunday. With those as an exception, I managed to do a pretty good job. I'm kind of tooting my own horn already, a bit premature, I know, but I have a rail here of goodies and some bargains which, I'm sorry, but I have got to pat myself on the back for, because I just think I've done amazingly well. Now, there's a little caveat to this point, because what I've done is I've actually shopped for secondhand and vintage only online. I'm kind of going to do this in stages. Shopping secondhand and vintage is relatively new to me. I've been buying a few vintage handbags over the last few months, but buying clothing is still quite new to me. So this is going to be a whole journey that you guys are going to share with me, and there's going to be multiple videos about shopping secondhand with my tips, and there's also going to be some come vintage / secondhand shopping with me videos as well, where I'm going to venture out into charity shops, vintage shops and thrift stores. I don't know if thrift stores are the same thing as a charity shop, but who knows? So let's get stuck into my rail of goodness. So first up, I have a brand new BNWT acne scarf. This is the Canada scarf. You guys might already recognise this because I have one in camel, which was a very generous gift from the lovely Holly, who is one of my favourite Etsy sellers. She got that for Christmas for me last year, and it's in camel. So I love that so much that I wanted to get a black one. Now, the Canada scarf comes in two different fabrics, like fabric makeups. It comes in the wool version, which at full price is £140, and it also comes in a cashmere version, which is 300 and something pounds, considerably more expensive. I really like the wool version. It keeps me super toasty and warm, and I picked this up for £40, so that's £100 off the retail price, and I bought this off Depop. And actually, this is something to note, because I wouldn't normally do this and I would not advise you guys to do this, but I knew the seller. So basically, I saw this advertised on Depop, messaged the seller and said, would you want to sell this to me directly so that you don't have to pay Depop fees, and so that I could have a little bit of discount? And she said yes. So I bagged myself a brand new wool Acne Canada scarf for 40 quid. Now, if you think that was good, you haven't heard the best of it yet. Wait until I crack on with this rail. So my next item, a lot of you will have already seen this over on my Instagram, and I think in Sunday's vlog as well I wore this. It's just a vintagey style band tee. I'm not sure if this is specifically vintage, and I apologise for the amount of dog hair on it. It is pre-owned, it's men's. I'm not sure if it was a guy that owned it, but I got this on eBay for £2.50. £2.50 of our English pence. Now, I know some of you pro thrifters out there will be going, what? That's actually really expensive, because I think you can pick up sort of vintagey band t-shirts like this in charity stores for probably, like, I don't know, 50p. I don't know if I'm wrong in that, but I feel like you probably could get something for 50p. Now, the seller said that this had been worn a couple of times. It didn't, I mean, I've worn it now, so it just smells of my perfume. It didn't particularly smell when it arrived, and that was one thing that I'm going to hold my hands up and admit did used to put me off shopping for items secondhand. I was worried that things were going to smell, that they were going to be musty, but this didn't smell at all. I have washed it. I did wash it before I wore it. I don't know if that's the done thing, that's just something for me that I would prefer to do. And yeah, Aerosmith t-shirt, £2.50p. Now my next item is actually something that you guys see me wearing all the time. And again, it's another brand new with tags. This is one of my favourite cashmere sweaters from Marks and Spencer's. I buy these not every year because they do tend to last me quite a few years. My black one now I've had for 3 years, I think. But this colour was one of the only colours that I didn't actually have, and it's just a pale sort of marl grey. In the same size that I always buy these in, which is a UK 12, I upsized it. They're just a little bit more slouchy and more comfortable. And this I got for £38. These at retail price are £79. Again, it doesn't smell. And another tip, this is from eBay by the way, another tip is to always look in the listing to see if the seller writes from pet free. If you don't mind pets, then obviously that's fine. Anyone that's bought off my Depop will have definitely received some dog hair in their package as well. Apologies, but now you can clone your own Bumble. But one thing I always look out for is smoke-free. If the item comes from a smoke-free home, that is a big deal breaker for me. So this one I got for £38 off eBay, and this was an auction, so I had to bid for this one. I think the starting price was £30. So up bid of about £8 and it was mine. Okay, on to item number, what are we on now? 4. And this is another pair of vintage Levi's. I've talked about vintage Levi's a lot. You guys know that I am a big fan of buying vintage Levi's. Sometimes I think it's a bit difficult to see if something is vintage or not. These particular ones have a very new label to them, so I have a feeling that these have either just been really well looked after or they're actually a slightly newer pair, but I go for the style of 501s. These I have got in the leg length 32 inches because I wanted them to be longer. The good thing about these is that if you buy a longer leg length, because perhaps your leg length isn't available, you can just cut them yourself. You've got a nice little frayed hem situation going on, which is something which I like very much. And sizing in terms of waist, because I know you guys ask me about this a lot. Vintage sizing, and often these 501s are technically men's jeans, so the sizing comes up a little bit different. So I always go for a size 31. If you want to head to like a vintage store, a thrift store or somewhere just to kind of try on a few styles to test out your size before buying online, then that's always a good idea. But I got these for £18.90. I will link this particular seller down below in the description box because I have bought so many. I'm just trying to think of how many pairs of vintage Levi's I've bought from them. I don't even know, but I have bought loads. I trust them, they never smell, and they're always exactly as the description states. So far, are you impressed? Bargain central over here. Right, my next item, this is my one and only gifted item, but I just want to lay that out on the table for full transparency. This is a men's vintage blazer. I don't know what colour to call this, kind of like an ochre yellow, but a bit sort of washed out. I don't know, it does have yellowy vibes to it. And this is from a vintage account and a vintage shop that I found online. I've seen that lots of cool girls are starting to shop with this particular store, and it's called The Level, and they just curate the most beautiful vintage pieces. And I just think that, I know this is not going to be everyone's cup of tea because this is super oversized, but for me, I love the boxiness and the oversized fit of a men's blazer. If you don't like the sleeves super long, you can either turn them up, ruche them up and use the hairband elastic trick to keep them up, or you could just have them tailored, and that goes for anything, guys. I think their blazers range from about €79, which admittedly is a slightly more premium price tag, but as I said, they curate their vintage pieces so incredibly well that basically they do all the legwork for you, so you can immediately just go and hit their site and you know that anything you're picking has serious cool points. Okay, moving on, and I have been dying to show you guys this because actually I've been speaking to a few of you through DMs or just from comments on some of my posts, and I've mentioned and referenced this blazer. This blazer is vintage, I'm doing a terrible job, vintage Burbs. Yes, and I got this for £9.50. Oh yes, this is a men's blazer. It's a men's size 38, which would be the size that I look for in blazers. I have a feeling this yellow one is considerably larger, that's why it fits much bigger. But if I'm buying new blazers from men's sections, like you guys know I'm a fan of buying H&M men's blazers, I will look for a size 38. So that's just my sizing tip. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? So this was £9.50. This was a bidding situation. And there were a couple of flaws with this. It has some broken buttons. So there's one here, which you can see is basically snapped in half. And I think there's a missing button on this side over here as well. Missing buttons, broken buttons, especially if it's Burberry, doesn't faze me. Because if you hit up eBay and you search Burberry buttons, a plethora of results will come up. So if perhaps you don't like the buttons on a specific blazer, you can buy new ones and they're like a couple of quid. For me, I was all over this brown tweed. I love a bit of brown tweed, and for autumn winter, it just makes me feel ready for the season ahead. Right, in amongst all of my bargains, I have my next item, which was a bit of a splurge. But when I tell you how much it is full price, you'll be like, well done, Emma. Good bargain hunting there. And this is it. I don't know if you can see the label, but it says Saint Laurent. It's so delicious, it's so French, and it is perfect. Apart from the fact that I cannot find the pockets, it is perfect for next season, and I am so excited to wear this. So I got this, I made a cheeky offer as well. I got this for £378. I managed to knock £20 off what the seller was asking. And I'm not kidding, this is essentially brand new. It's just absolutely immaculate. There's no smell to it. Still almost got that really stiff sort of feel that a new wool coat would have. Now, this jacket has actually been brought out again this season, and it's £1,600. And I got it for £378. Winning! Right, moving on to my suede and leather section of the rail. So this is my most recent purchase, and it is, again, another brand new with tags. I'm going to show you here. It's from Mango. It is a suede coat. Still got the tag on here with the price, which says €129.99. And I got this for £38. So it's a decent length. It's kind of like just above my knee. I just loved this suede. I was actually looking for a shorter version, but I came across this and I remembered seeing this in store like a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, yes. Like for £38. This one is another eBay find, and definitely something which I am looking forward to wearing again in the coming autumn winter seasons. Okay, my next three items are kind of grouped together. I'm going to go through them one by one, but they were essentially one search for one item that I wanted to find, and I've now got three. So the first coat that I came across was this one, and I got really excited. It wasn't specifically the tailored style that I was after, but I came across this on eBay, and this was actually the first purchase of August when I started shopping secondhand. And admittedly, I think I got a little bit excited. So this one was a buy it now, and this was £45, which actually, when we get to these, you will probably realise the same as I have, it's quite expensive. And I don't know if I'm going to keep this one yet. I think it's probably going to be a no. So this is going to be something that I sell on, which again is the beauty of all of this stuff. And it's very much when you start shopping secondhand, it is a bit of a learning curve. You're sort of teaching yourself the tips and tricks of what to look for and sizing and all this kind of stuff. And I have taught myself the trick of patience, because if I'd have been patient, this one came up a week later, which I then purchased as well. Now this one exactly fits the description of what I was looking for. It's vintage Marks and Spencer's from the 90s. A lot of you guys have actually said that you have this coat in your loft or like in a storage bag or somewhere. Time to whip it out, ladies. Time to whip it out. Now this one, £12.50. Yep, £12.50. £12.50. What? So inspired by this kind of very sort of off-duty 90s supermodel vibe. Cindy Crawford's daughter Kaya Gerber has also been seen sporting similar kind of things, and she has very much got a vibe that I am digging right now as well. So this was an immediate yes. This was a bidding situation. Actually, I was the one and only bidder for this. It's a UK size 10. Marks and Spencer sizes have always come up a little bit on the large side, so I knew that this one would be okay. Now, whilst I was looking for this, and the same sort of time that I put this in my wish list, this one came up. So this one is from Zara, and as you can see, what colour are we calling this? Maroon? Again, it is fully leather, fully lined, and just judging from the label in this, I don't remember the label, and I worked for Zara for a good few years, and I don't actually remember this label because they change their labels a lot. So I'm not entirely sure when this is from. I would say, if I had to take a ballpark guess, the last 15 years would be my sort of rough guesstimate anyway. And I just thought, yes, I'm gonna go for it, because you know what? This was the exact same price as the Marks and Spencer's one. It was £12.50. And you know what? For that price, I wasn't gonna say no. What's the matter?
Sorry, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm just doing my sign off. Right guys, that concludes my first ever second-hand / vintage little shopping session. I would love to know if you think I did well, especially if you are a ready-made thrifting second-hand vintagey shopper. I would love to know if you think that I have done you proud here. Oh, that's a pigeon. Sorry. Now, it's just worth me mentioning, just in case you've missed it by some chance, that we have made over on my Instagram account a hashtag to kind of share in the love of secondhand and vintage clothing accessories, your finds, and it's called hashtag secondhand but grand. One of my followers came up with that, and lots of you guys have already been sharing your vintage and secondhand buys to that hashtag. So I would just invite everyone to come and share all of your best buys over on that hashtag, so that we can spread the message that vintage and secondhand shopping is definitely the way to go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video, which will be on Sunday. Good day to you folks.